Welcome to another installment of the New York Minute Sports Show. I'm Eric Casson, and tonight we got the 2025 Hall of Fame candidates for Major League Baseball. And we're going to be going through the list and trimming the fat and see who gets in and see who doesn't, baby. Let's go! Well, what we like to do is after the New Year's and after the ball drops, we like to join the gym, change the diet a little bit, and trim the fat. And that's what we're doing right here. In my point of view, guys, the bar has lowered for the Hall of Fame. You used to have to be a unicorn jumping through hula hoops to get into the Hall of Fame before, and now they let guys like Mike Mussina, who don't even have 300 wins. And I do get the fact that the game has changed in the last 25 years. We're getting to 300 wins as a pitcher and getting to 500 home runs or a career average of 300 really isn't in the books for today's players. But these guys that are actually being inducted into the Hall of Fame or candidates today are guys that were in the steroid era before that in the 80s. So we're talking my era, baby. This is my wheelhouse. So let's go to the videotape. Bobby Abreu. Now we have three categories here. No, maybe, and yes. Bobby Abreu, he falls into the no category. Carlos Beltran. All right, Carlos Beltran's got some serious numbers. We'll go back to this. We're going to put him a check. We're going to put Carlos Beltran in the maybe category. I'm writing that down. Beltran, maybe. Then we got Mark Burley. I'm telling you right now, I don't even need to look at his stats. Not a Hall of Fame pitcher. Not even the best pitcher in the league 1 year. He was never the guy. I know he won a World Series with Chicago White Sox, had the behind-the-back flip. That's great and all. But he's not a Hall of Famer. Good player, not a Hall of Famer. I think a lot of people get it twisted with good player, great player, like a Bernie Williams, okay? Perfect example. Bernie Williams, championships out the wazoo, was always in the All-Star game, always up contention for Silver Slugger, blah, blah, blah. Not a Hall of Famer. Don Mattingly, not a Hall of Famer. Keith Hernandez, not a Hall of Famer. And we'll get to all that. Carlos Gonzalez, absolutely not. Curtis Granderson shouldn't even be on this list. Great Yankee. Good Met. Great Detroit Tiger. Awesome. But not a Hall of Famer. Shouldn't even be on the list. This is what I'm talking about lowering the bar, folks. Felix Hernandez. Okay. He pitched in Seattle for way too long. Complete games. I mean, let's go to his stats. So Felix Hernandez's stats are pretty good. 169, 136 win-loss, but you can really throw out the win-loss because he did play in Seattle for so long when they were dismal. Career 3.42 ERA, not bad. Got over 2,500 Ks. No, I mean, WHIP was 1.206, which is really good, but now they can make up all these stats, past the fact, like WHIP. It's like when these guys were playing, we weren't looking at WHIP, okay? We were looking at strikeouts, we were looking at Ks, complete games, and that's another thing that's gone completely out the window. Roy Halladay was kind of like the last Iron Man that would do that. Bumgarner used to do it, and you see what those guys do. They fall off a cliff, kind of like Felix Hernandez. Felix Hernandez, I'll throw him in the Don Mattingly category. If he kept it up with good years for about 3 or 4 more years, he would have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. Torrey Hunter, good player, not a Hall of Famer. Andrew Jones, okay. Andrew Jones is a very, very peculiar case. Now, Andrew Jones came up in the league at a very, very young age, okay? He has a career batting average of 254, 434 home runs, 1,200 RBIs. He's got 1,900 hits in his life and an 823 career OPS. Played in 2,000 games. Pretty good. Is it Hall of Fame category? No. If he got to 500 home runs and he had a career average of 250, then we're talking, because Andrew Jones, when he came up with the Atlanta Braves, if you weren't around to see this guy, when he played against the New York Yankees in 1996 in the playoffs, you were like, who is this guy? 5-tool player, had everything. Then he kind of just fell off a cliff. I don't know if it was the lifestyle that got to him. I don't know what the deal was there. But Andrew Jones was one of the best baseball players in baseball for about 4 years and then just fell off a cliff. A lot of guys do that, you know. Ian Kinsler, no. I'm going to say no right off the bat. But what I'm going to do is I am going to go into the numbers here. Ian Kinsler, lifetime, 269 batting average, 250. Get out of here. Get out of here. I'm upset I had to look that up. This is the problem. Russell Martin, you're telling me Russell Martin is a candidate for the Brian McCann? Dude, I mean, Jorge Posada was putting up bigger numbers than all these dudes, and he's not a Hall of Famer. Like, if you start letting these guys in, you're going to have to open up, bust out. It's going to be bar rescue all over again. And bust open the books. Because Russell Martin, it needs to be bar rescued out of the 2025 Hall of Fame. Dustin Pedroia. I like Dustin Pedroia a lot. He's not a Hall of Famer. He's a good player. He's a Torrey Hunter. He's an Andrew Jones. But I bet you he's another dude with underwhelming stats. And Dustin Pedroia was more of a, he was more of a locker room guy. He was more of a bench guy. Gritty dude. I'll throw him in a Derek Jeter category. Not even close to the same stats he has. Dustin Pedroia is a hair under 300 career average, so 299. So let's give him 300. But 140 home runs. Not cutting the mustard. He did win an MVP. So you got to give him that. But you're not giving anybody anything. This is the Hall of Fame. Andy Pettitte. Oh, Andy. Why are you going to do this to me, man? Andy Pettitte, career 256 wins to 153 losses, a 3.8 lifetime ERA that's kind of on the high side, 2,000 Ks, a whip. I know said whip doesn't count, but if we're counting that now, it's 1.35, which is great. Has the career most postseason wins at 19, 5 championships, second lowest ERA in postseason history, next to Mariano Rivera. You can make a case for him. And if you let Mike Mussina in, I don't think you should have let Mike Mussina in. So no, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say Andy Pettitte's not a Hall of Famer. That kills me, man. That literally crushes my soul. He's this goddamn close to being a Hall of Famer. But if Mike Mussina's in and he's not in, I guess the steroid thing's keeping him out. He did admit it. The steroid guys, they're having a hard time getting in. I totally forgot about the steroid shit. But if you look at it on paper, great Yankee, great postseason. They called him the stopper. He was the guy that you wanted after a loss in the postseason. He'd come and get you that really tough Game 2 loss. El Duque'd go in the first game with that high leg kick. I'm getting excited for baseball thinking about it, but Andy's not a Hall of Famer. With the steroids and with the stats, he is a hair under. But that, I got to admit, that 257 win to 143 losses, that is nothing to sniff at, man. That is almost 81 games above 500. That is impressive. Hanley Ramirez, no. Manny Ramirez. Yes. Absolutely. Hands down, abso-goddamn-lutely. Manny Ramirez. Manny Ramirez's career. 312 batting average. 555 home runs. 1,800 RBIs. 38 stolen bases, which is hilarious. In 2,500 games. So he has 2,302 games played and has 2,574 hits. He's got 223 more hits than games played. You got an OPS, career OPS of 996. That's an MVP season for a guy right now is 996. Manny Ramirez is a great baseball player. He's the biggest knucklehead I've ever seen don a uniform, and it's just Manny being Manny. But the fact that Manny Ramirez is not in the Hall of Fame is a travesty to baseball. Everybody was on the juice. Let him in. The juice is loose. Didn't you hear? The juice is loose, folks. Let them all in. They're all Hall of Famers. Barry Bonds is the best goddamn baseball player I've ever seen, and he's not on this list. That's a shame. I don't care if he was taking horse tranquilizers. Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. Manny Ramirez should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't care if he popped 3 times and had testosterone coming out of his earlobes. He should be a Hall of Famer. Ty Cobb was a member of the letter K, and a third one. And he's in the Hall of Fame. Like, you got to be kidding me, man. Fernando Rodney, get out of my face. Alex Rodriguez, absolutely. I don't like the guy. I think he's a cornball. Anybody that has a picture of a senator, a mentor, or whatever, the half horse, half man thing. A centaur. Yeah, a centaur. He has a painting of a centaur above his bed. That's him. I don't know what that's all about. He's one of the phoniest guys I've ever seen. He wants to be loved by Derek Jeter. He wants to be loved by all. He's not likable. He's annoying. And he's a cornball. But he's one of the best baseball players ever to draw breath. He's one of the greatest baseball minds ever. He might get in his own way a lot, but the MVP that he won with the Yankees, the MVP that he won with the Texas Rangers, I don't care about steroids. Steroids do not make you hit the ball. It does not help hand-eye coordination. These guys were taking the juice to make them be able to play in more games, to be able to bounce back from injury, okay? Methamphetamines in the 70s and 60s, they used to have leaded and unleaded pots. Look at the articles on the impact of baseball, not steroids, but amphetamines. Amphetamines has been one of the biggest contributors to injuries because guys are getting tired, and when you get tired, you break down. That's why Andy Pettitte say he was taking the HGH in the clear, was to bounce back from injury quicker. These guys weren't looking to lift cars over their head, unless your name's Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire, but I digress. Jimmy Rollins, not a Hall of Famer. CC Sabathia, not a Hall of Famer. Now, CC Sabathia is a shade under Andy Pettitte. So CC Sabathia is not a Hall of Famer. Andy Pettitte is not a Hall of Famer, but CC Sabathia is under Andy Pettitte. And I would put Mike Mussina right around here. Andy, Mike Mussina, CC Sabathia in that pecking order. And I don't think any of them should get in. None of them got 300 wins. And they were playing in the era of 300 wins. Full stop. Guys now, like Clayton Kershaw, he doesn't need to win 300 games to get into the Hall of Fame. But I'm making the rules up as I go along. I know it, but it's my show. It's the New York Minute Sports Show. And you can check us out on Instagram at NEWYRKMIN, shameless plug. So, CC Sabathia, not a Hall of Famer. Andy Pettitte, not a Hall of Famer. Don Mattingly, not a Hall of Famer. The list goes on and on. But I'll tell you who is. Manny Ramirez, Alex Rodriguez. Alex Rodriguez is so goddamn good. You forgot how good this guy was. Okay, let's go to Alex Rodriguez's career average. 295 batting average. 696 home runs. I'll say that again. Alex Rodriguez has 696 career home runs, and he's not in the Hall of Fame. 2,086 RBIs, 400 stolen bases, over 3,000 hits, an slugging of 930, and an OPS of 930 as well. Hall of Famer. Terrible dude. Cornball. Loves himself. Loves to hear himself talk. And he like it when he goes on. No. I don't like me some A-Rod. But God damn it, that guy can ball out. Troy Tulowitzki, get out of my face. Get out of my face. Ichiro Suzuki, hands down, Hall of Famer, arguably one of the best baseball players ever to draw breath. One of the greatest, better than Pete Rose. He almost got 3,000 hits in Major League Baseball after already getting 3,000 plus over in the Japanese leagues. Came over here at 29, was the breakthrough Japanese player, not Hideki Irabu, the fat toad that George Steinbrenner loves so endearingly. But yeah, not good. So let's continue. Chase Utley, POS. This one goes out to my Met fans. Chase Utley is a POS. After that slide in the second base, and I'm not banging any pots and lighting any fires for the Mets, but Chase Utley is a POS. I'll get off of that. Omar Vizquel. Omar Vizquel doesn't have I want to compare him to Ozzie Smith. So Ozzie Smith, you know what ChatGPT is great? Let's do this. Ozzie Smith, Omar Vizquel comparison. Oh, you gotta love the internet, man. You gotta love the internet. You gotta love ChatGPT. All right, so Omar Vizquel has 272 batting average, 80 home runs career lifetime, 951 RBIs, stolen bases, 11 Gold Gloves. Okay? 11 Gold Gloves. Vizquel was also the master with the Gold Gloves, earned praise for his consistency at shortstop, an extended career, and he was not as flashy as Smith, but he was very consistent. Okay, so let's look at Ozzie Smith, 262 career hitter, 28 career home runs, 793, 13 Gold Gloves, most by a shortstop in Major League history, All-Star appearances. Is he a Hall of Famer? Yeah, Ozzie Smith's got to be a Hall of Famer, right? It's a travesty. I got to look that up. Yeah, Ozzie Smith's in the Hall of Fame. So if Ozzie Smith's in the Hall of Fame, just because Omar Vizquel doesn't do backflips doesn't mean that he should be left out of the Hall of Fame. So I'm going to say Omar Vizquel. Should get in. If Ozzie Smith is in, Omar Vizquel should get in. Ozzie's got 13. Vasquez is second. Omar Vizquel is second in Gold Gloves. All right, Billy Wagner, absolutely not. But let's look at his stats. Billy Wagner. Okay, Mr. Wagner, step up. Billy Wagner, career lifetime 47 and 40, win-loss, but he's a closer, so it doesn't really matter. 2.31 ERA, 422 career saves. You know what? Billy Wagner might be a Hall of Famer, folks, and I'm wrong. He's got over 1,000 Ks. Got a whip of 9 plus. Yeah, Billy Wagner's a Hall of Famer. You know, it's a different kind of category because it's kind of like the DH, and the closer is kind of a very, obviously it's a very specialized category. But, the David Ortiz wouldn't have got into the Hall of Fame 20 years ago, but now he does because he was a designated hitter. It wasn't around. So I'm going to say Omar Vizquel and Billy Wagner so far. So what do we got? We got Eric's list so far goes Omar Vizquel, Billy Wagner, A-Rod, Manny, no David Wright. David Wright shouldn't even be on that list. Ben Zobrist. I had a buddy send me some memes about Ben Zobrist. Ben Zobrist had identical stats to Juan Soto. Let me see. Ben Zobrist. I got no Ben Zobrist. Come on, I got no Ben Zobrist. Oh, yeah, I'm not even looking at that. Ben Zobrist now. Okay, that's a fucking waste of time. All right, so there you have it, folks. So the list that I have is Omar Vizquel. Why can't I say his fucking name? So Billy Wagner's definitely a Hall of Famer. David Wright, I'm not even going to look at his stats. Absolutely not. And Ben Zobrist, absolutely not. So there you have it, folks. That is my list, the New York Minute Sports Show list. We got Omar Vizquel, and that's because Ozzy got in. Then we got Billy Wagner. I didn't know the guy had close to 500 saves, got a good win-loss, great amount of strikeouts to starts, good whip. Surprisingly, really, really good by Billy Wagner. I did not see that coming. Alex Rodriguez is a Hall of Famer. I don't care if he's a cornball. I don't care if I dislike him. I don't care if he was taking horse tranquilizer. Alex Rodriguez is a Hall of Famer. And I don't care what Manny Ramirez does. I hate the Red Sox with a fiery red passion, but I gotta love me some Manny Ramirez. That guy is one of the greatest hitters, best baseball players we've seen in a generation. Juan Soto gets $800 million. How much do you think that Manny Ramirez would get on the open market today? And you can go to the open source of the Information Superhighway and check us out at New York Minute. That's NEWYRKMIN on Instagram. Bunch of funny stuff on there, memes, you got it, commentary, short form, and longer form here on YouTube. Don't forget to follow and comment. And Spotify, video, and our full-length audio podcast where it's us and the guys. And we're bringing people into the fold. It's going to be nonstop action all year from us here at New York Sports Show. So don't forget to follow and hit that bell, guys, so we know when we put out a new show and you get alerted so you can see this beautiful face of mine. Hope you like the show, and I hope you like what we've been doing so far, and we'll see you soon. And if you can't be good, baby, be bad. Bye.